how does this happen? How does it happen that Bonnie Henry can close the churches, and this such a clear violation of British Columbians' rights can then be allowed to go unaddressed, uncorrected? Well, it has something to do with judicial review. So judicial review, you've got judges who review decisions, actions taken, and determine whether or not these are lawful, whether or not these were required, whether or not it's reasonable that they occurred. Administrative law principles have been applied to protect the decisions of delegated authorities, to protect them within the judicial review process. And what the result is that lawyers have not been permitted, and we've heard a lot about this in the CCCA, lawyers have not been permitted to bring evidence to court to question the expertise of the authority. Now, why? The scope of evidence admissible for a judicial review or challenge, specifically not to an elected representative, but specifically the scope of evidence admissible for a judicial review or challenge to an administrative authority is confined to something called the record of the proceeding. But amazingly, and this is where the administrative law principles come in, the record of proceeding is controlled by the administrative authority whose decision is at issue. So what does that mean? That means in a case brought against Bonnie Henry decides what evidence can be presented in court by those who've brought forward the case against her. So as Paul Jaffe has related, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms has brought expert witnesses of the highest caliber whose opinions are then excluded because of this particular administrative law principle. In the simplest terms, if Bonnie Henry didn't consider these opinions, these expert opinions, in making her decision, then they're not admissible for the purpose of challenging her. It doesn't make sense to any of us, but this is determining how things are going in our courts. So throughout the declared pandemic, access to remedies through the court, access to remedies to determine rights and prevent violations was effectively denied or inadequate. And this effective denial of protections against and remedies for rights violations is now being written into new laws through the strategic use of administrative law principles. So it's an interesting game, and it's been successful.